What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of GTA Online Money Guide. In today's episode, I'll be covering the Cayo Perico Heist. Now, I've decided to make a video on this because this is one of the only heists in the game that you can complete solo. So you can do it anytime that you want and you don't have to rely on other players joining your session. Before we start, I do suggest that you have a look at episode 1 and 2, which covers buying and managing businesses, as well as managing your overall session effectively and the easiest and quickest ways to make money. But before we get into the video, please drop a like and subscribe to our channel. Let's go. So let's begin. Guys, we're going to split this video up into three parts. Part one being the stakeout, part two being the preparation, and part three being the final heist. So let's begin with part one. First of all, you need to buy a submarine called the Kosatka, which can be found on Warstock. This will cost you just over $1 million. Now, guys, the total payout for the heist is not much more than this, so you won't see much profit on your first heist. But remember, you can replay the heist over and over again. So if you're willing to put in the time and effort, you can actually bring in a lot of cash. So go over and purchase your Kosatka. Once you have purchased your Kosatka, you can hold down the D-pad if you're on PlayStation, go down to Service Vehicles, and then go down to Request Kosatka. Once you have done this, your Kosatka will spawn just off the coast of your current location. Set a waypoint to it and go to the beach that is closest to it. So once you're at the beach, the Kosatka comes with a dinghy boat. So again, hold down the D-pad if you're on PlayStation, Service Vehicles. Under Kosatka, they'll have an option to request dinghy, and then a dinghy boat will spawn right next to you. So this makes it easy to travel to and from the Kosatka. Unless you're Michael Phelps, this is a whole lot better than swimming. So once you have made it to your Kosatka, you can go ahead and enter it using the hatch. This will take you to your main operations room. Before you begin any heist preparations, please make sure you register as a boss. You will also meet your captain called Pavel. Now, just a couple of things that the Kosatka can do for you. First of all, you can set your spawn location to be the Kosatka. So every time you join your GTA Online session, this is where you'll spawn. You can also pay a fee for the Kosatka to change its location. So if you want to spawn somewhere closer to land, you can. And you can also drive the Kosatka yourself. On this particular occasion, this is the first time I actually did this. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, let's not get distracted and let's move on with the video. So you want to head on over to your main heist board and pay a small setup fee of 100,000 GTA currency. Now your main heist board gives you an overview of your overall progress throughout the heist preparation. It shows you things like your secondary targets, which are loot that is found at various locations throughout the island, which I'll get onto later. Your infiltration points, which will be how you will enter the island during your main heist. Your escape points, which will be how you will leave the island after your heist. Your compound entry points. Now, the compound is where your main target is found, and this will show you the possible ways of entering the compound. Next, you want to go on over and select Gather Intel, and this will launch you into your first setup mission of the heist. Set your waypoint for its location, drive there, and on this particular occasion, we are required to steal a plane and fly to the island of Cayo Perico disguised as a smuggler. Now, guys, while we are busy on our journey, I just thought I'd give you a background into the heist. So, Cayo Perico is the name of an island that is owned by a drug lord called El Rubio. So, part one is called the Stakeout for the very reason that we are literally going to stake out the island. We are disguised as a smuggler, so it is our responsibility to navigate the island efficiently and locate all points of interest that are required for the completion of this heist. So for this particular occasion, the main target is the bearer bonds, which is found in El Rubio's safe, which is in his basement. There are also secondary targets in the form of other loot that is found around the island, which we are going to locate. And we also need to find adequate infiltration points. So, in other words, how we're going to enter the island. And we also need to find a adequate escape point. Once you make it to the island, you'll be put into a cutscene, which is the same every time you come to the island. Now, our first main objective is to get to the communications tower, but in order to do that, we need to sneak through the main checkpoint, which can be a bit tricky. Now, if you open up your map, you will see that there are a lot of security guards around the island, each of which is attached with a cone of vision. Now, you'll be required to bob and weave around these cones of vision. If you are caught, you'll be taken back to the airport hangar where you'll have to start the whole process over again. If you are caught too many times, your mission will fail and you will be escorted back to the mainland. Alright guys, so what we're looking at here is the security layout at the main checkpoint. Now I have circled two security guards that you need to worry about. Number one is in a watchtower and you want his cone of visibility to be facing in the direction of my arrow. And number two is a security guard that's patrolling along the road, walking up and down. You want him to be in the exact position of where he is now in this image. There is a security camera, but you do not need to worry about that. If you follow the two lines that I've drawn out for you, those two lines represent the two routes that you could possibly take. So when entering the little gate, you can either go directly to the right hand side or you can cross over the road on the left and hide in the bushes like so. Once you have made it through the main checkpoint, you need to reach the communications tower. The best possible way to do this is probably to put your jungle shoes on and go through the bushes. This keeps you out of sight and is less risky. Once you have made it to the communications tower, you need to hack into the security box and access the CCTV footage, which will get you insight into El Rubio's compound. Once you have hacked into the CCTV footage, you can access this via your phone and you now have access to every camera inside Al Rubio's compound. Please take your time with this and anything that you do find that might be of interest will be marked on your map by Pavel. The main objective, which is the bearer bonds, can be found in the basement within the safe. I'm just going to leave this footage on the screen for a couple seconds so that you know what to expect when doing it yourself. Next up, guys, we need to find a good compound entry point. Now, there are multiple ways that you can enter El Rubio's compound, but this is the way that I did it, and this is the way that I feel is best. So, first of all, you need to steal a boat, which can be found at any of the following two docks. Once you have stolen the boat, open up your map and set your waypoint for the following location, which is basically outside El Rubio's compound. Once you are there, dive into the water, go down quite deep, and then you will find a drainage tunnel. Once you make eye contact with the drainage tunnel, Pavel will mark it on your map so that it's done. This is the way that we'll sneak into El Rubio's compound, which we will cover later. Before we end the stakeout, guys, you do want to have a thorough look through the entire island and look for secondary targets, which are items that you can loot during your main heist. Now, these items are worth a lot of money, so you do want to take your time with them. They do not show on the map until you have taken a photo of them and sent them to Pavel. Now, they are located within areas that are generally populated by a lot of buildings and are usually behind some sort of closed gates. Now, the procedure is the same. You just need to walk up to them, whip out your phone, take a photo of it, and send it to Pavel. He will then mark it on your map so that you know exactly where they are when you return for your final heist. Also, please make sure that you remain cautious of guards the whole time, because remember, if you do get caught, you'll be escorted back to the airport hangar where you'll have to begin the whole process all over again. And I remind you, if you're caught too many times, you'll be escorted back to the mainland. I do just want to go over the secondary targets that are found within the hangar because these are the targets that I chose to loot. So basically, when you first arrive at Cayo Perico, there will be a main hangar on the runway. Enter the main hangar, go right to the end right in front of you, and you'll see that there are secondary targets behind that main gate. You then need to go to the right-hand side, jump on over to the boxes, hop over the little fence, and then you will see again at the end of the little hallway, there are secondary targets there as well. Guys, I'm going to end this video by showing you some screenshots of all the locations of the secondary targets so that you don't need to go and look for them. You can just go straight to the locations that I'm about to show you. But the secondary targets can be found at the hangar, Dock 1 and Dock 2, the packaging plant, as well as the farmland. Guys, that is it for part one of the Cayo Perico heist. Please stay tuned for part two, which is the preparation. But thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.